In this video we will tell 4 short horror stories. So turn off the light, close the curtains, turn up the volume and join me to immerse ourselves in this creepy world. Our first story is entitled, The Children of the Forest. Once upon a time, a group of children decided to venture into a deep, dark forest. Despite warnings from adults and rumors about the dangers lurking in the wilderness, the little ones were eager to explore the forest and discover its mysteries. At first, everything seemed to go well. The children were having fun, picking flowers and marveling at the trees and wild animals they encountered along the way. But as they went deeper and deeper into the forest, they began to get lost. The signs on their path became blurred and the sunlight filtered through the forest canopy with less and less intensity. Soon, the children realized they were completely lost. They tried to turn back, but everything seemed the same and they could not find their way out of the forest. Night fell and they began to hear strange sounds in the trees, breaking branches, growling and howling. The little ones became frightened and began to cry. As time passed, they realized they were not alone. Something was stalking them in the dark, something that didn't look human. They tried to remain calm, but their tears and screams alerted the creature, which approached them little by little. The children tried to run away, but it was too late. The creature, a dark and terrifying figure, dragged them into its lair. They were never heard from again. Since then, locals say it is not advisable to venture into the deep forest after sunset. It is said that the lost children still lurk in the trees, looking for someone to rescue them from their eternal torment. Our second story is entitled, The Shadow in the Mirror. There was a young woman named Anna who lived in an old building in the center of the city. One day, as she was getting ready to go out to dinner with her friends, she noticed something strange in the bathroom mirror. A dark shadow seemed to be moving behind her in the reflection. Anna turned quickly, but saw nothing behind her. She shook herself and told herself it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. However, the shadow appeared again in the mirror, this time darker and more defined. Frightened, Anna turned away from the mirror and ran out of the bathroom. But each time she passed the mirror, the shadow grew larger and more menacing. No matter how hard she tried to avoid it, the shadow was always there, stalking her in the reflection. Anna began researching the history of the building and discovered that it was once a dark place of worship. The building's former tenants believed that they had summoned a dark spirit and that its presence was still present in the building. Anna decided that she had to do something about it. She sought the help of a local shaman who advised her to perform a purification ritual. After completing the ritual, the shadow finally disappeared from the mirror. From then on, Anna always closed her bathroom curtains when she got ready to go out, but she never felt completely safe in the building after her encounter with the shadow in the mirror. Our third story is entitled, The House of the Demon. Once upon a time, a happy family moved into a house in the country. Everything seemed perfect until strange things began to happen in the house. The family heard noises in the night, objects moved by themselves, and doors slammed shut. But the worst was yet to come. One night, the youngest daughter of the family started acting strangely. Her eyes rolled back in her head and she began to speak in a guttural voice. The family tried to stop her, but the girl seemed possessed by some kind of malevolent entity. The family called a priest to perform an exorcism on the house. During the exorcism, the girl began screaming and writhing on the bed. The room filled with a sulfur smell and the temperature dropped drastically. After hours of struggle, the entity seemed to leave the girl's body and everything returned to normal. However, the family never felt safe in their home again. They always had the feeling that something dark was lurking in the darkness. Eventually, the family decided to move, but the house continued to have a bad reputation. Rumors said that the house was demon-possessed and that no family living there would be safe. Since then, the house has been abandoned, an eerie reminder of what can happen when evil takes over a place. Our fourth story is entitled, The Cursed Road. Once upon a time, a group of friends decided to take a road trip to enjoy the scenery and spend some time together. The road they took was surrounded by dark, lush forests, and night was falling fast upon them. As they proceeded along the road, they noticed a strange and disturbing presence. A thick fog was rising around them, and they could feel a dark and ominous presence stalking them. Suddenly, they saw a blurry figure in the distance. It was a woman dressed in white standing in the middle of the road. The friends slammed on their brakes, trying to avoid an accident, but as they approached the figure, she disappeared without a trace. Further along their journey, the friends began to feel that something was following them. Strange shadows appeared in their path, and they heard disturbing sounds coming from nowhere. One of them swore he saw the woman in white in the back seat of the car. The tension in the car increased as they drove down the dark and lonely road. Suddenly, the car stopped dead in its tracks, and the dashboard lights began to flicker. The friends got out of the car to see what had happened, and found that a cold, pale hand was holding the engine. Horrified, the friends fled from the car and ran down the dark, lonely road. As they went on, the fog thickened even more, and they could feel the dark and terrifying presence chasing them. Finally, they came to a small abandoned house in the woods. They took shelter there, waiting for daylight to come so they could escape from that terrifying place. The next day, they found an old diary in the abandoned house. It told the story of a woman who had been run over and killed on the road. From then on, her spirit tormented passing travelers, seeking revenge for her tragic death. The friends never forgot their terrifying experience on the road, and never traveled that dark and lonely route again. Our fifth story is entitled, The Child of the Cemetery. Once upon a time there was a small cemetery on the outskirts of a small town. People rarely visited it, as most of the inhabitants preferred the larger, more modern cemeteries in town. But there was a legend about that cemetery that kept people away. A ghost child was said to haunt it. The story went that the boy had been buried there after dying in a tragic accident. According to legend, his spirit could not rest in peace and wandered around the cemetery, searching for his family. One day, a group of friends decided to visit the cemetery to test whether the legend was true. When they arrived, they found a small grave with the boy's name engraved on it. As they examined the grave, a shiver ran through their bodies. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of them. It was the ghost child, who appeared before them as a pale and sad specter. He asked them for help in finding his family, saying that he had been wandering the cemetery for years without finding them. The children, frightened but feeling sorry for the ghost, promised to help him find his family. Over the next few weeks, the children researched the boy's name and looked for information about his family. They discovered that his parents had died in a car accident shortly after the boy died, and that there were no other known relatives. Finally, the children took the ghost to his parents' grave and left him there so that he could join them in death. Since then, the legend of the ghost boy in the cemetery has disappeared. It is said that the boy's spirit finally found the peace he longed for, thanks to the help of those brave children who helped him find his family. I hope these stories have been to your liking. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell in order to receive notification of our next stories. See you soon.